The Longest Beer Run. This is a movie that is now streaming on Apple TV Plus and playing in theaters, though only for a limited time in theaters. And I really wanted to go check this out in theaters because unfortunately I don't have an Apple TV Plus account. I would like to get one, but every time I try to sign up for whatever reason, because I don't have an Apple product or an Apple ID, I just have the hardest time signing up, and I just find that very irritating at times. But whatever. One of these days I'll figure out how to get Apple TV Plus, and I'd love to be like reviewing a lot of their content, but I have the hardest time signing up every time I try to do that. Anyways, this movie was pretty interesting. So this movie is about this guy who, during the Vietnam War, the time where it's at its height and causing a lot of issues and division in our country, decides, you know what, I'm gonna go take my friends from in the war some beers, and he gets on a boat and sails off to do this. So this is kind of his journey through that, and apparently it's based on a true story. Though I don't know how accurate a lot of the events in this movie were. So the first act of this movie is pretty interesting experience for me because I was sitting here watching this movie. I was enjoying it. Bill Murray actually played a really good character in this movie, very briefly in this movie. I enjoyed his performance and things like that. And I was getting into a lot of the performances in this movie, and I thought it was going in an interesting direction. But there was this part of my mind that was thinking, what's the point of this movie, right? Um, and what is this movie saying? And I don't know why this thought came into my head, but it just kind of did throughout I was watching this movie. So while I was watching it, I was watching this movie slowly go through, and we get to a point, and this is not a spoiler at all. I'm just gonna say there's a point in this movie where a character says a line that very much indicates what this movie's about and the purpose of its existence. He asks, "Why do you only report the negative things about the Vietnam War? And why do you only do that?" And he goes, "Don't you think that hurts our country?" And he's like, "Truth hurts our country? No, it's the lies and conspiracies that and twisting and narratives of truth that hurt our country." And that line and that piece of dialogue very much explain about what this movie was about. It very much shows a character who's young and stupid and drinks all day, doesn't and people even point this out about this character in the movie, and they point that out and they call him out, and so when he's out here delivering beers, he's seeing the horrors of war. He's seeing who the lies and conspiracies affect, basically people, his friends, and I think this movie is talking about that time in history, of course, Vietnam, but there's also a level of subtext that you could read into the fact that this is saying something about our times and about how certain sides of the political spectrum have these lies and conspiracies that they throw out there, whether it be election fraud, COVID 19 disinformation, vaccine disinformation, all these kind of horrible conspiracy theories, conspiracies about trans people, LGBTQ people, and what they're teaching to kids in school. Whatever conspiracy you want to throw out there that's going on right now politically. And this video isn't made to get political. I'm praising an aspect of this movie. So if you don't like I'm talking about politics, screw you. This movie's about a political issue. So, what I'm saying here is, this movie is that's what this movie's about. It's about very much showing you what's wrong with these modern conspiracies and how back then they were doing harm and they're doing harm today. It may not be in the same way. We weren't having soldiers out in wars getting freaking murdered in the same way we were back then, or like they weren't throwing people out of helicopters the way they were back then and things like that. But, I'm just saying that that's what this movie's about. And I really enjoyed the idea of going through these conspiracy theories, these bad, and just like breaking down what's wrong with them. There's several beautiful moments about this character, watching people he knows die or be affected by this. And, there's the subtext of war, there's the subtext of it's hurting innocent people. There's so much layers to this film, and I just really enjoyed it for that reason. If I had any criticisms with this movie, it did drag on a little bit at certain points, and maybe could have used some trimming down. This movie is about 2 hours and 6 minutes. It could have gone with about an hour 30 minutes, or at least an hour 45. It didn't really need to be as long as it was. But however, this was still a fantastic movie with some pretty damn good performances. And I think the play of why this one's in theaters is to get Oscar nominations. I personally don't think it will get that, but it's still a really great film that if you have Apple TV Plus or it's playing in a theater near you, especially if it's playing in a theater near you, this movie does feel very cinematic in a lot of sequences. It's 100% worth your time. Go see this movie. Go seek it out. It's awesome.